Coming up next, it's emails from all around the world, including across the pond. It's Pro Wrestling Report Interactive, and it's time to give back. Pro Wrestling Report Interactive is next. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive. Damian Nelson sitting alongside the lovely Linda Kay. Linda, we haven't been together here on set in quite a while. What's new with you?
Just got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. Maybe
busy little beaver?
Surprises and so let's see.
Well, it's going to be a great show because Meathead's not here. Meathead getting married this weekend, so obviously got a little bit going on there with that. But what is PWR Interactive? It's time to respond to your emails. It's all about your emails, your questions, your comments, and again, we appreciate all of you who send those in to us via pwrshow.com with your questions. A lot of good ones this week, so let's not waste any more time. And let's get right to them. Our first one comes from Steve Henson from Houston, Texas. And Steve says this: only 2 times in my 20 years of being a devoted wrestling fan have I been so angry at WWE that I turned the television off. Stone Cold breaking into Brian Pillman's house when they ended the show with a black screen and a gunshot, and the whole Lex Express Yokozuna era. Well, on NXT this week, I found myself once again so disgusted with WWE that I turned off the television. WWE, in their infinite wisdom, kicked Daniel Bryan off NXT, and thus, in effect, have just killed off NXT. Well, the elimination of Bryan Danielson is one of those big mistakes. In conclusion, this will be the last time NXT comes out of my mouth because NXT, Linda, is dead to him.
Wow. Some big words.
Powerful. And obviously a Daniel Bryan fan, a Bryan Danielson fan. Daniel Bryan saying after being eliminated on NXT this past Tuesday night that we may have seen the last of Daniel Bryan, but we've yet to see Bryan Danielson, which is what a lot of people wanted to hear.
I was going to say, a lot of fans waiting to hear those words, waiting for the return, the old Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Bryan, which we've seen. And as far
but here's what I think is smart. WWE brings in Daniel Bryan, and there's all this uproar. They bring in Bryan Danielson, rather, and call him Daniel Bryan. There's all this uproar, I believe, including for myself, about the ownership of their stars and whatnot. Yet, if this was the end result to ultimately introduce Bryan Danielson, it's a stroke of brilliance on the part of WWE.
Very, very
They got us.
Yeah,
Again.
I was going to say, they got us. And
They got you, not me.
Okay, they got me. I mean, we've gotten
We'll
a
go
lot
with
of
that.
letters about Daniel Bryan and the support of him. Obviously, he's had a lot of fans in previous years, but definitely brilliant move on the WWE to build this storyline, build the character, and, you know, I don't know. I think the return's coming, but Steve, to say it's as shocking as the, you know.
Steve's hot about it.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it's quite as shocking as the whole Pillman circle?
You know
I don't
what?
know. I think breaking into someone's house and putting a gun to their head is.
That was
big
fun,
first.
though.
It was fun. I mean,
You know, I was watching some old Attitude Era stuff,
Yes.
and I hate referencing it as the Attitude Era, but really, some old stuff with The Rock. We put it on the tweeted it out when The Rock had guest ref the match between, I believe it was Triple H and the British Bulldog, and he had the microphone throughout the whole match, and at one point he's standing back clapping, he's doing commentary between moves, but the best part of that match is when he gets in with the microphone and counts 1, 2, it doesn't matter if The Rock counts to 3. I mean, you just want to pick him up and strangle him, and that was a great character and just such great days. JR stuff, and you know, as we talked about on the radio show, Special Night and Time this past Wednesday, a tribute to the career of Jim Ross, as we have learned that his on-air broadcast career with WWE is, at least at this point, over. Just so much good stuff, and now, there's nothing. There's no edge. Raw got a 3.05 rating this past Monday night. That tells me people are not into the product. They're PG, parental guidance suggested, which is not the problem, I don't think, but a piece of the problem. But I digress. But back to Bryan Danielson. He is a great talent, an amazing talent. He worked in Ring of Honor with our very own Rashi Brown. But there's nothing really huge about him. I mean, he's great. He didn't win a match,
Mhm.
and as the emailer said, he got got eliminated, and we'll never watch NXT again. But I don't think we've seen the last of Bryan Danielson on WWE TV, and we'll see how that pans out over the next few weeks. But a good talent, a great talent, and a very small man.
Mhm. But obviously big with the fans. Huh?
That's important, I guess. Thank you for that email. Let's go now to our next emailer from across the pond, Matt, over in the United Kingdom. We love our viewers and listeners from across the pond.
Absolutely.
Are you going to get on the, we're planning, are you going to just say yes?
Yes,
Super.
absolutely. Going across the pond, right?
Matt from the United Kingdom sends this in, and Matt wants to talk about TNA Wrestling. In the past few weeks, TNA have adopted a new backstage footage style that resembles more of a shoot style. The most notable of changes include the change to film and the lack of quote-unquote promo talk. For example, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff in the limo. I really like this idea, bringing me on to my question. Do you think there is more room for this in either of the two main companies' products? I, for one, do, and would love to see the build for huge pay-per-view matches go even further with an HBO 24/7 style program that is done for boxing. What are our thoughts? Thank you very much for that email, Matt, over in the United Kingdom. TNA first did that, I believe, on their reaction program, which is now part of the TNA Thursdays on Spike TV, which is tonight, by the way. It's a unique style. It's grainy, it's sort of real, it gives sort of a different feel for the show, and maybe does increase that importance. If you've ever seen any of TNA's Before the Bell specials, those incorporate a lot of that kind of footage, and quite frankly, they come off really well. So this little bit of realism, if you will,
Yes.
in the promotion of professional wrestling storylines and events. Your thoughts, Linda?
I think it'd make more of an impact for.
Is there a pun intended
Yes, there
there?
was impact. I don't know. I think it is a good aspect. It'd be good to kind of change things. Instead of, like Matt, like you said, like a promo style thing leading into matches. But I don't know. I think honestly, it would kind of take away from, I guess, comedy. I don't know. I like seeing.
But I think you still get that. You still get that comedy. You
That's
still
true,
get those
but it's
pieces.
real. It's real. Okay. I don't know.
You got Ric Flair saying, that's the bottom line, with a busted lip, that's the bottom line, because Ric Flair said
That
so,
is
and I
cool,
was
that
saying
is
it
cool.
before Stone Cold.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a unique feel, it's a different feel, and Matt over in the United Kingdom especially feels that it adds to the product. Now, we've seen this from other organizations, as he said, boxing, I think at times in mixed martial arts as well. And obviously that stuff has more of a real flair to it than professional wrestling does. Oh, very good, very good. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it.
Cool.
But I think it adds, but I think it has to be used in moderation. If you see it too much, and if you see it used for storylines and matches that are not as significant, then I think you dilute it.
Okay, but yeah, like Matt said, leading for pay-per-view matches. I think for the most significant matches, the belt change matches, it'd be something good, something different to change.
I think if
Good
The
job.
Miz did it before each of his matches, no matter the opponent, I think we'd be fine.
Oh yeah.
Because, I don't know if I've told you, but The Miz is...
Awesome.
Thank you very much for that email, Matt, over in the United Kingdom. Let's go now to Keith in Los Angeles, California. I just got back from LAX
Yes, you did.
a little while ago.
It was
Great
sunny
city.
California.
I did not get a street taco. I think that's what they call them. You buy the taco from the little truck. Nor did I get to an
Chocolate truck
In-N-Out
tacos.
burger. Well, that would make a lot of sense. I'm not a native. Keith, maybe you can tell us. That was a great time out in Los Angeles. Very, very interesting, but great time. Keith, thank you very much. Sends this in from LA. He says this: I recently stumbled across a very interesting rumor stating that TNA may be changing the global title to a hardcore championship. I think this is a smart move for TNA, considering the hardcore aspect the company is trying to portray itself as, what with the likes of countless ladder matches, street fights, as well as other talents such as RVD, Jeff Hardy, Abyss, Team 3D, etc. Do you feel that by doing this, TNA is weakening the credibility of their belt, seeing as only the non-gimmick title for the male heavyweights would be the World Heavyweight title, being that the X, Hardcore, and Tag Division titles have a certain specification of belonging to an individual championship. So the question in there from Keith is this theory of TNA introducing a hardcore championship.
I'd love to see that. I mean, it is total nonstop action, and
Ah.
mentioning the wrestlers, Jeff Hardy, RVD, you know, just I don't know. It would make sense. I don't know, but as far as reusing the credibility, I guess of a non-gimmick belt, I don't know. I think it'd be great. I mean,
I don't
considering
think-
the
yeah.
talent they have.
I don't think it would impact credibility. The question is, the true question is, would it be defended 24/7, and could any champion be as good as, so great, I don't remember his name, Holly. Not Hardcore Holly, but Crash Holly. Crash Holly. That was just some good times. And again, back to the good old days of wrestling.
That is true, but if they did change it back to, well, I should say back, because if we're introducing it into TNA, but in WWE, if we change it to that 24/7 format, do you think people would start saying,
That's
like,
been
oh,
there.
they're just
It's been there, done. And a lot of people, you know, this is back to the talk of the Attitude Era. A lot of people, let's get back to it. Let's do it again. Let's try to recreate it. Well, lightning cannot be captured in a bottle. It's a bit cliched, but you can't recreate the Attitude Era, just like the Attitude Era wasn't the 80s, wasn't the Hulkamania period. It wasn't the wrestling of the 50s, you know, at the Marigold in Chicago. Wrestling is a cyclical business. It changes, and who knows what that next wave is going to be if it comes. But I think one thing is for sure at this point, wrestling is certainly in a lull right now. I think TNA would benefit from a hardcore championship because it's different. It's different from what from what WWE has, and I believe it's different from what Ring of Honor has, so they can create a niche category there, but they already have two, and that being the knockouts, because WWE's divas don't perform on that level because they're not allowed to, and also the X Division, which they've put more focus on as of late, but not enough focus on as of late.
I don't know. What if, I still think it'd be great, though. I mean, 24/7 hardcore championship. I mean, that's.
I think during that period, didn't Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe hold the belt as well?
I think so. I remember Molly Holly did too. Didn't she? For like a second?
Indeed. For about a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Minute. I'm a little. 59 seconds.
Thank you for that email out in Los Angeles. Let's go to our final email of the day, and this comes from Connor Casey in Kansas City, Missouri. I wonder if he's ever had barbecue at Harley Race's place. Connor says this: I remember you guys and Linda talking a few weeks ago about how the WWE main eventers look so much different from the TNA main eventers because WWE makes their wrestlers seem larger than life. But when you look at some of the new stars that WWE is pushing, that may not be the case. Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre, Ted DiBiase, Cody Rhodes, Sheamus, R-Truth, and The Miz are all nowhere near being larger than life than guys like Hogan and Cena because their characters aren't really that unique. Swagger has a lisp, Sheamus is pale, Miz is annoying, and there are annoying pale people with speech impediments in the world. Just go to Scotland. This is Connor Casey saying this, certainly not Linda. Do you think WWE is slowly starting to get back down to earth, or get back to the down-to-earth characters of the 90s? And if so, will TNA look better because their wrestlers are already down to earth and they are better in the ring? Lots said there by Connor from Kansas City. A lot of points to discuss, the first of which being the stars being molded for tomorrow, specifically Cody Rhodes and The Miz, are nothing special. They don't have that John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man kind of look to them. So can they be as big a stars as those aforementioned named people?
I
If
think
that's
so.
a sentence.
I think your boy The Miz is getting there, you know? It's a lot of...
Oh, no.
Oh,
He's
he is.
there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going back to your email, Connor, so thank you. But I don't know. I mean, as far as larger than life, I mean...
Backstreet Boys sang a
physically,
song about
yes. That makes you larger. Finish off. Okay. But Sheamus, though, I mean, I think he's got, a physical
He's an interesting fella.
build to be larger than life. But if we're talking about charisma, we're talking about that, we're talking about character, are we talking about... I don't know, is this affecting the number of championships they're getting?
No, it's basically their look. What we
Their
said a
look,
couple
okay.
weeks ago was you take a look at AJ Styles, you take a look at, let's even say the Pope, you take a look at some of the bigger stars that they're pressing. I think Abyss would be outside that category, but Desmond Wolfe, Motor City Machine Guns, and you compare them to like stars in WWE, There's a difference. You know, when you look at a Triple H, you see star. When you look at Randy Orton, you see star. When you look at Sheamus, star. Cena, star. Undertaker, star. But at the same time, WWE, to this point of this email, has a lot of those stars that may not necessarily project that. Edge, nothing really special about him from a visual standpoint.
Okay.
From a visual standpoint. Great talent, great performer, and obviously a superstar, but from a visual standpoint. Back in the day, you know, everybody looked sort of like Rob Terry. You know, they were cut, they were jacked, they were huge, they were larger than life. Nowadays, for several reasons, you see a lot less of that in the wrestling business. Specifically, I would attribute it to the trial of 1993-94 between Hulk Hogan and the U.S. government referenced steroids. It's not smart for wrestling companies to have gassed up freaks anymore. And what I mean by that is not that they are gassed up, but they look gassed up. Well, they could be freaks.
Okay.
Not sure. They come out at night, and I'm not usually in bed by then. But, you know, you look at a John Cena. Some would say, oh, look at steroids. You look at a Batista. Some would say, oh, look at steroids. You look at a Rob Terry. Some would say, oh, look at steroids. When in those cases, nobody can prove a dang on thing, and it's not fair to make that assumption, especially since 2 of the 3 have denied it completely, repeatedly. But it is a valid point that the stars of today, you look at The Miz. He's about the size, my size. You look at Cody Rhodes. He's not very large. You look at some of these other people who are being made into stars, and I see the point. It's not the same as those larger-than-life characters that we saw in the 80s or even in the 90s. However, Shawn Michaels, sort of normal guy. But it's what you package them in and what you deliver them in, and quite frankly, what they can deliver.
Exactly. I mean, you brought up Shawn Michaels. That's a great point. He proved everything throughout his whole career. And then, you know, in the 80s with the Rockers, and then just him, you know, spanning off, being his own superstar, and again, you know, his just really making his character strong and standing out. And, you know, same with, like, The Rock. Okay, The Rock was larger than life, but a lot of his success always had to do with him and the total package himself, his charisma and his way he talks, and obviously he was just a talented wrestler as well. So, I don't know. Do you think, I mean, besides The Miz, you know, any other WWE or TNA wrestlers?
Well, there's the Pope.
Okay.
There's Desmond Wolfe. I gotta find my one mark-out guy from TNA. Because, you know, I am a TNA guy. But I really don't have any mark-out guys in TNA. I got The Miz, I got Cody in WWE. Oh, we'll figure it out.
I gotta figure mine out, too.
Maybe we'll figure it out this Friday on Primetime with David Hero. And that'll be available at pwrshow.com tomorrow, actually. We take a few days off and then come back and do 2 shows in a row. And if you didn't get a chance to check out the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, we were indeed on last night. And that is available right here at pwrshow.com. So be sure to check it out. And also be sure to continue to check the website. The NBA and Major League Baseball schedules are wreaking havoc on the 540 ESPN schedule. So always check to find out when PWR is going to be on. Linda, as a matter of fact, next week we're going to be on May 20th. I'm horrible with dates. I don't know. I'm great on dates, horrible with dates. Going to be on May 20th, right after TNA Impact. A special show right after Impact.
Absolutely.
Which will be interesting, coming off the heels of TNA Sacrifice on pay-per-view this Sunday. So I think I've sold enough. Are you following us on Twitter yet? Are you on Twitter yet? The world wants you on Twitter.
I will be. I need to be. I know I do.
It's real easy. You know, you just,
I know.
John Cena's on Twitter now.
Oh.
It's all orange.
Boy.
You're a Cena, you're part of the Cena Nation?
Yes, I am.
And you're proud of that?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I was a fan before, you know, he blew up, not just in size.
Better as a rapper or now?
I haven't heard him rapping much lately.
No, but was he better when he was rapping, or is he better now?
Oh, is he better?
Basic thugonomics, you know?
Yeah, I guess I miss that. I do.
You didn't put that piece of information on your application, being a Cena mark?
No, my bad.
What else are you hiding? What's your mark for?
Randy Orton.
You hear
the
those
list
voices,
goes on.
Yeah, we'll have to talk after the show.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. We'll be back with you again. That's how they say it in Canada. Next week with another brand new show. But check out PWR Prime Time. Coming to you here tomorrow with myself and David the Hero. For Linda Kay, this is Damian Nelson saying thanks for tuning in.